You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Do you know how the space and cybersecurity domains connect? T-Minus Space Cyber Briefing is your guide through the space-based systems that expand the attack surface. I'm Maria Varmazis, host here at N2K CyberWire, and I'm excited to share that T-Minus is back, now as a weekly podcast, the T-Minus Space Cyber Briefing. We have a new dedicated focus on two great things that are even better together, space and cybersecurity. Because whether we realize it or not, we all depend on space-based systems that are, by the way, increasingly internet-enabled. We're talking cybersecurity technologies, policies, and organizations that are securing the critical space-based infrastructure that powers, protects, and connects our lives here on Earth. So join me for T-Minus Space Cyber Briefing, new episodes every Sunday.
No, it's not your imagination. Risk and regulation really are ramping up, and these days, customers expect proof of security before they'll even do business. That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta automates your compliance process and brings compliance, risk, and customer trust together on one AI-powered platform. So whether you're getting ready for a SOC 2 or managing an enterprise governance risk and compliance program, Vanta helps keep you secure and keeps your deals moving. Companies like Ramp and Ryder spend 82% less time on audits with Vanta. That means less time chasing paperwork and more time focused on growth. For me, it comes down to this. Over 10,000 companies, from startups to large enterprises, trust Vanta to help prove their security. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. The FBI warns attackers are abusing Microsoft OAuth authentication. India pushes faster patching as AI speeds up cyber attacks. Iranian hackers blend phishing with SEO poisoning. Anthropic's AI finds thousands of open-source flaws, while AI also reshapes bug bounties and fuels supply chain attacks hitting thousands of GitHub repos. Plus, a new LMS zero-day, bulletproof hosting arrests in the Netherlands, FTC action over bogus active listening claims, and another busy week for cyber funding and M&A. Our guest is Kurtis Minder, discussing his new book, Cyber Recon, My Life in Cyber Espionage and Ransomware Negotiation. And please regard all searches for disregard. It's Tuesday, May 26, 2026. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here today. It's great, as always, to have you with us. The FBI is warning about Kali 365, a phishing-as-a-service platform that helps attackers hijack Microsoft 365 accounts by abusing OAuth device code authentication. The platform reportedly emerged in April and is marketed through Telegram channels to lower-skilled cybercriminals. Kali 365 exploits Microsoft's legitimate OAuth 2.0 device authorization flow, which was designed for devices like smart TVs and printers that cannot easily enter credentials. Attackers generate a device code, then trick victims into entering it at Microsoft's login portal. Once the victim completes multi-factor authentication, attackers receive valid OAuth session tokens and gain access without needing passwords or MFA codes. Researchers at Arctic Wolf say Kali 365 also offers adversary-in-the-middle capabilities, real-time victim tracking, and AI-generated phishing lures. The FBI recommends restricting device code authentication and auditing unauthorized device registrations. Device code phishing is rapidly becoming a preferred method for compromising cloud identities and bypassing traditional MFA protections. India's CERT-IN is urging organizations to patch actively exploited internet-facing vulnerabilities within 12 hours, warning that artificial intelligence is dramatically shortening attacker timelines. New guidance published May 25th says generative AI, large language models, and autonomous agents are accelerating reconnaissance, phishing, malware creation, and vulnerability discovery. The framework sets risk-based remediation targets, including 1 day for critical external flaws and 3 days for critical internal vulnerabilities affecting high-value systems. CERT-IN also recommends prioritizing known exploited vulnerabilities and exploit prediction scoring system data over severity ratings alone. AI is compressing the gap between disclosure and exploitation, leaving defenders with far less time to respond. The guidance also emphasizes securing AI systems themselves and maintaining rapid incident reporting procedures. Iran-linked threat actor Nimbus Manticore is targeting aviation organizations with a new phishing and search engine optimization poisoning campaign designed to spread malware. According to Checkpoint Research, the IRGC-affiliated group operated in multiple waves between February and April, overlapping with the U.S. military's Operation Epic Fury campaign. Researchers say the group impersonated aviation companies and software vendors across the U.S., Europe, and the Middle East. In April, the attackers introduced fake Oracle SQL developer download sites packed with search keywords to rank highly in search engines. The campaign also delivered a new AI-developed backdoor called MiniFast, which disguises command and control traffic as Chrome browser activity. The operation shows how state-aligned actors are blending traditional phishing with search manipulation and AI-assisted malware development to scale attacks against critical sectors. Anthropic says its Claude Mythos AI model has identified thousands of severe vulnerabilities across more than 1,000 open-source software projects. The company reports more than 23,000 potential findings, with external reviewers confirming over 1,700 vulnerabilities, including more than 1,000 rated high or critical severity. The model, available to select organizations through Project Glasswing, has reportedly helped researchers uncover flaws in projects including Firefox and Chrome-related software ecosystems. Anthropic says only a fraction of identified issues have been patched so far, citing disclosure timelines and strained security resources. The findings highlight how AI-driven vulnerability discovery could significantly increase the pace and scale of software flaw identification, while also adding pressure to already overloaded patching and disclosure processes. Researchers say the economics of bug bounty hunting are rapidly changing as AI accelerates vulnerability discovery and floods maintainers with security reports. HackerOne's Internet Bug Bounty program recently cut payouts sharply, reducing rewards for medium severity flaws from roughly $1,800 to under $300, while the program remains paused amid a processing backlog. Security researchers told the Register that AI-assisted tools are producing higher quality findings at a much greater scale, creating pressure on open-source maintainers who still must manually validate, deduplicate, and remediate reports. Curl founder Daniel Stenberg and Linux maintainer Linus Torvalds both warned that AI-generated vulnerability submissions are becoming difficult to manage. Researchers say the real bottleneck is no longer discovering flaws, but verifying and fixing them efficiently. Researchers say an automated supply chain campaign dubbed Megalodon compromised more than 5,000 GitHub repositories by injecting malicious GitHub Actions workflows through fake pull requests and forged bot identities. According to SafeDep, The attackers used base-64 encoded bash payloads designed to steal cloud credentials, SSH keys, OpenID Connect tokens, and secrets exposed inside development environments. The campaign reportedly executed more than 5,700 malicious commits in a 6-hour period and targeted repositories tied to projects including TileDesk and Black Iron Project. Researchers say the malware spread through poisoned workflow files rather than altered application code, making detection more difficult during routine package reviews. Security firms warn the operation reflects a growing wave of large-scale software supply chain attacks targeting continuous integration and delivery pipelines. Mandiant reports that attackers exploited a zero-day vulnerability in the Knowledge Deliver learning management system to deploy web shells and a Cobalt Strike backdoor. The flaw stemmed from hard-coded ASP.NET machine keys shared across deployments, enabling view state deserialization attacks. Researchers say the attackers deployed Godzilla web shells, modified application files, and delivered fake plugin alerts before installing additional malware. Mandiant believes the final backdoor payload was customized for the targeted organization because its encryption key included the victim's name. The incident highlights the risks of shared cryptographic secrets across enterprise software deployments and the continued abuse of ASP.NET deserialization flaws for post-exploitation access. Dutch authorities have arrested 2 men accused of operating companies that allegedly provided bulletproof hosting services to Russian threat actors while evading European Union sanctions. According to the Dutch Fiscal Information and Investigation Service, investigators seized more than 800 servers during raids at multiple locations and data centers across the Netherlands. Officials say one suspect operated a Dutch front company tied to a sanctioned hosting provider linked to disinformation and cyber attacks targeting EU members. Investigators allege the second suspect maintained infrastructure that kept the services operational after sanctions took effect. The case underscores growing scrutiny on infrastructure providers accused of enabling cybercrime, distributed denial of service attacks, and state-aligned influence operations, despite international sanctions. The Federal Trade Commission says Cox Media Group and 2 partner firms will pay $930,000 to settle allegations they falsely marketed an AI-powered advertising service that supposedly listened to conversations captured by smart devices. Regulators allege the companies claimed consumers had opted into the service and that advertisers could target localized ads based on voice data collected in real time. According to the FTC, the active listening product did not actually use voice data. Instead, the firms reportedly resold email lists purchased from data brokers while misleading customers about the service's capabilities and consumer consent practices. The settlement bars the companies from misrepresenting advertising features, geographic targeting, or the collection and use of consumer voice data. The case highlights increasing regulatory scrutiny of AI marketing claims and consumer privacy practices. The notion that your mobile device is actively listening to you is a conspiracy theory that sadly refuses to die. Turning to our Monday business breakdown, cybersecurity investment actively remained strong last week, led by Socket, which raised $60 million in Series C funding at a reported $1 billion valuation. Other notable raises include Israeli email security startup Ocean with $28 million, quantum-safe security firm Quantum Bridge with $8 million, and offensive security startup Hacktron with $2.9 million. The mergers and acquisitions market also remained active. Akamai agreed to acquire Israeli browser security company LayerX for $209 million, while Sierra acquired Genie Security for a reported $50 million. Additional deals involved Security Scorecard, Blackbox, and Torque. The funding and acquisition activity reflects continued investor focus on AI-native security platforms, software supply chain protection, and threat intelligence capabilities as organizations adapt to evolving cyber risks. Be sure to check out our weekly business briefing. That's part of CyberWire Pro. You can find that on our website. Coming up after the break, my conversation with Kurtis Minder, author of the new book Recon: My Life in Cyber Espionage and Ransomware Negotiation. And please disregard all searches for disregard. Stick around. Most environments trust far more than they should, and attackers know it. ThreatLocker solves that by enforcing default deny at the point of execution. With ThreatLocker Allow listing, you stop unknown executables cold. With ring fencing, you control how trusted applications behave. And with ThreatLocker DAC, Defense Against Configurations, you get real assurance that your environment is free of misconfigurations and clear visibility into whether you meet compliance standards. ThreatLocker is the simplest way to enforce zero-trust principles without the operational pain. It's powerful protection that gives CISOs real visibility, real control, and real peace of mind. ThreatLocker makes zero-trust attainable, even for small security teams. See why thousands of organizations choose ThreatLocker to minimize alert fatigue, stop ransomware at the source, and regain control over their environments. Schedule your demo at threatlocker.com/N2K today. When it comes to mobile application security, good enough is a risk. A recent survey shows that 72% of organizations reported at least one mobile application security incident last year, and 92% of responders reported threat levels have increased in the past 2 years. GuardSquare delivers the highest level of security for your mobile apps without compromising performance, time to market, or user experience. Discover how GuardSquare provides industry-leading security for your Android and iOS apps at www.guardsquare.com. Kurtis Minder is author of the new book Recon: My Life in Cyber Espionage and Ransomware Negotiation. Here's our conversation.
I've been interviewed by the media, including yourself, many times. And, occasionally after those interviews, people would say, I didn't realize that there were companies doing this kind of work, cyber espionage type of work. You should write a book about that. A lot of people don't realize that this is a thing. Richard Steenan, who's a close friend and mentor of mine, who's written many books, I'm sure you know Richard, he introduced me to his publisher, and the publisher in the first conversation offered me a contract. So it kind of just fell in my lap.
Well, take us through how you decided to organize this, because this book is really packed with a lot of good information.
Yeah, I wanted to take the audience through sort of first give basic context, the readers through basic context of the industry and why this type of industry inside the cyber industry exists, and kind of go through the who, what, where, when, how components of that. And that's kind of how I did each chapter. Each chapter was, here are the bad guys that we're dealing with, and here's why they're doing what they're doing, and here's why we're spying on them, and here's how we're spying on them, and here's where we're spying on them. And each chapter kind of addresses all of those things. And then, of course, I have a chapter on the ransomware negotiation component. The longest chapter in the book is on operational security for an individual or an organization, which I think is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me that, it's not just a review of what's been done and how it's done, but it's also a practical guide for a lot of folks out there.
That was the hope, to write it so that it was broad enough that someone who's new to the cybersecurity industry could gain something from it and potentially, learn something, tactical, but also have enough context and storytelling that the veterans of the industry are entertained by it. And I think I walked that line pretty well.
Yeah. One of the things that impressed me is, this is not just a book about your own experience. You've brought in some big names, some other heavy hitters, if you will, in this world.
Yeah, that was my attempt at addressing my imposter syndrome. Dave. I'm sure you have these moments in your career too, where you're like, why am I doing this? There's like at least 10 people who are smarter than me, and so instead of just putting them in the acknowledgments, I decided to make a profile of some of the people that I admire or have helped this industry specifically, or me, and do a profile on those individuals in the book.
Well, let's go through some of the main things that folks can expect to get out of this book. Can you take us through some of the chapters that you're particularly fond of?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the OPSEC chapter since that's the one that takes up the most space. After doing this type of work for so long, one, we learned so much about how the bad guys operate, the threat actors operate. That's useful information. I'm obviously a target because of the work I do, and so I have to be very careful about my own operational security. And I also just in life recognize how often people are doing this wrong, not maliciously, just unintentionally doing this wrong or incorrectly. So I spend a lot of time walking through. Again, I like to always give a good why this is important. But then here are some basic things that you should know. If you're an analyst and you're doing this kind of work, here are the things that you should be aware of. If you're just a person who's a high-profile individual, here are some things that you need to take into account. So I spent a lot of time on that chapter. I think the chapter on the ransomware negotiation is one of the more eye-opening for the average person, because I walk through actual cases. I talk about who these bad guys are and why they're doing what they're doing, and like they operate a lot like a business themselves, and how that works and the inner workings of all that. So I think that's one of the more entertaining chapters for sure.
Well, I'd be remiss to not get your take on AI and where we find ourselves with this revolution.
Yeah, at the last couple chapters, I talk a little bit about the current landscape in AI, and we are seeing, the threat actors utilizing AI. In some ways, they're mirroring the way the broader market is doing that. So the initial, sort of evidence that we saw threat actors using AI maliciously was, as simple as sort of content creation and things like that. That's what we started with, making cats break dance or whatever we were doing. They're doing that, but they're doing it for phishing emails, right? And so then they've then stepped that up, and we've even had a couple cases where we believe they were using AI in the negotiations. Obviously, the Mythos thing is pretty big now, and I think we will be seeing evidence of that in the wild if it's not already out there. So it's definitely like everywhere else in the world, in every profession, the AI is making a major impact.
Who's your target audience here for the book?
It's broad, but I would say that when I think of a reader persona while I'm writing, a lot of times it's just security or board level leadership at a company. So CISOs and or their peers at the board level. And I do a fair amount of board advisory work now. After exiting my last company, that's mostly what I'm spending my time on is book signings and board advisory work. And I recognize the gaps. These people don't have enough context to make good decisions. And so I try to write the book to help with that.
From a big picture point of view, what do you hope people come away from reading the book?
Better awareness of the risk, and just improved cyber hygiene, which I talk about in the book is something that I believe is almost like a civic responsibility. And I talk about that in all my public speaking as well.
And the title of Kurtis Minder's new book is Cyber Recon: My Life in Cyber Espionage and Ransomware Negotiation.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
And finally, Google's new AI-heavy search experience has apparently found an innovative way to redefine the word disregard by disregarding the actual search result. Users searching the single word disregard this week were greeted with a large, mostly empty AI-generated response that pushed the useful Merriam-Webster definition well below the fold. The issue surfaced shortly after Google rolled out a redesigned search interface that prioritizes AI summaries over traditional web links. Critics online pointed to the example as evidence that the system may not handle simple edge cases particularly well. In an unexpected twist for longtime tech reporters, Microsoft's Bing reportedly delivered the more useful result, a sentence that may have caused several search engineers to quietly stare into the middle distance. The episode highlights ongoing concerns that AI-generated search features can sometimes add complexity where users simply wanted an answer. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. Don't forget to check out the Grumpy Old Geeks podcast, where I contribute to a regular segment on Jason and Brian's show every week. You can find Grumpy Old Geeks where all the fine podcasts are listed. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. N2K's lead producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our contributing host is Maria Vermazis. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.